Have you ever felt like you tried your absolute best, but life still wasn't kind to you? You stayed up late, woke up early, worked overtime, pushed yourself every single day, and yet when the person you loved needed you the most, you couldn't save them in time. I've been there too, and today I want to tell you a story from my own life, guided by an old fairy tale my father once told me. That year I was 33 years old, but inside I felt like a lost 14-year-old child, working overtime, chasing deadlines, counting every single dollar I earned. Yet when my father fell seriously ill, I didn't even have enough money to take him to the hospital. On the day my father passed away, I stood quietly in a corner, watching his old army comrades, veterans who once fought alongside him, come together to prepare his funeral with their own hands. I just stood there, my hands cold, my heart feeling like it was being crushed. I kept asking myself, "Dad, how unfilial must I be that at the end of your life you still had to rely on your friends?" And then life didn't stop for my pain. I still had to go to work, still had to take care of my mother, who constantly blamed me, scolded me, and said I didn't love her. My entire youth, I lived only on responsibility, but I never once felt like I was good enough. Until one night, sitting on the front porch, letting out a long sigh, I suddenly remembered a fairy tale my father used to tell me. Long ago, there was a small valley covered in mist all year round, a place filled only with the sound of wind and the steady rhythm of an axe striking dry wood. There lived an old woodcutter in a fragile wooden stilt house. People called him Old Mock. No one remembered how old he really was. All they knew was that every morning before dawn, he left his house to gather firewood in the forest, and every evening he returned silently, his back bent, clothes worn thin, his eyes sunken, yet strangely gentle. What people remembered most about him wasn't that he worked harder than anyone else, but that every afternoon, no matter how exhausted he was, he would sit by an old apricot tree behind his house, carefully picking up fallen leaves, loosening the soil, and watering it slowly, as if he were tending to a priceless treasure. For years, the villagers wondered, why does he keep caring for that withered tree? It's almost dead already. But no one knew the answer. Only Old Mock did. When he was young, before tragedy struck the valley, he once had a happy family, a beautiful wife and two chubby little children, a boy and a girl just learning to walk. His wife loved apricot blossoms most of all, flowers that signaled spring, that carried hope. Every time the apricot tree bloomed, the whole family would gather in the yard, watching petals fall. She used to say, "As long as the apricot blossoms bloom, our family will be safe and happy together." But that year, a strange epidemic swept the valley. His wife and both children passed away. In her last days, she looked at him with gentle, sorrowful eyes and said, "If the children are gone, and one day I'm gone too, please take care of this apricot tree. Every time it blooms, think of it as me and our children still being here with you." After losing his family, Mock worked in silence. No laughter, no words. Yet every evening he returned home and gently placed his hand on the apricot tree, as if touching his wife's shoulder once more. But the tree never bloomed again. Year after year, no buds appeared. The branches grew drier with time. One day, a traveling herbalist passed by. He stopped and looked at the tree for a long time before asking, "Why do you keep caring for this tree?" Mock answered softly, "I'm waiting for it to bloom." The herbalist sighed and said, "This tree cannot bloom while it carries your sorrow. As long as your heart is heavy, the flowers will not open." Mock gave a sad smile. "But where else can sorrow go?" The herbalist shook his head. "You don't need to put it anywhere. Just don't keep holding it forever. Sorrow is like your axe. If you never put it down, you'll never feel light again." After that day, Mock continued caring for the tree, but sometimes he began to whisper to it. He talked about his days in the forest, about the afternoon rain that nearly made him slip, about a book he never finished, and about the grief he had never spoken to anyone. In those quiet conversations, his sorrow slowly fell to the ground, soaking into the roots like rain. Then, an early spring morning, after a winter harsher than any before, Mock stepped outside, as he always did, expecting nothing. But that morning, as the first sunlight touched the branches, he saw something shimmering, a single bud, small, soft white with a hint of pink, trembling in the wind. He rubbed his eyes, thinking he must be mistaken, but no, it was real. For the first time in many years, he sat down by the tree and cried like a child, not from grief, but because hope had returned. He gently touched the petal and whispered, "You're here, you and our children." And then he understood. The tree wasn't waiting for spring, it was waiting for his heart to open again. Sometimes in life, we are like that apricot tree, exhausted, withered, believing we will never bloom again. And we are also like old Mock, holding on to grief, loss, failure, unnamed pain, until our hearts dry without us noticing. But no heart is ever truly dead. Some hearts just haven't put down what they've been carrying. When we begin to care for ourselves again, when we speak what we've kept inside, when we allow ourselves to be weak, when we allow ourselves to hope, no matter how slowly, the flowers in our hearts will bloom. Not because life suddenly becomes beautiful, but because we open ourselves enough to see the beauty that was always there. And if today you're going through a long winter, remember this: spring is never late. It arrives at the exact moment you are brave enough to open your heart. That's when I realized my own apricot blossom had bloomed long ago. In my health, still here, in friends who reached out when I was unemployed and hopeless, in my ability to love, even after years of being hurt. And my mother, she never learned how to receive love, and I don't need to freeze my heart because of her words. Turning 40 doesn't mean starting from zero. I start from my falls, my lessons, and a heart that's tired, yet still knows how to love. Filial piety isn't silent endurance. It's keeping your heart warm so you don't become the person you're afraid of becoming. Because when the heart stays warm, you will see the apricot blossoms bloom. If you're tired because of family or because life has taken too much from you, stay here with Yen with UME. I tell these stories to heal you and myself.